Well, it started. The Great Resignation 2.0 is setting in with a pushback from employers and workforce professionals trying to tell us that the Great Resignation isn't all that it's cracked up to be. It isn't as great for you as you thought it would be.
So I quit. Still not a week goes by, I don't regret it. And I guarantee a week won't go by in your life you won't regret walking out, letting them get the best of you.
Employers large and small who have been fighting the Great Resignation for months, as more than 4 million workers in the U.S. have quit their jobs each and every month for successive months.
You make a lot of money? Yeah, I do all right for myself.
Why? To find new work, better work, and more money in the workforce shortage today.
You show me a pay stub for $72,000 on it, I quit my job right now and I work for you. No, everything's fine. Hey, listen, I quit.
And their new marketing message to us, their pushback against the grass is greener ideas that the Great Resignation are, some of you aren't happy. Some of you who make a switch won't be happy with just more money, new work conditions, more flexibility. No, it won't make you happy. So just be quiet. Stay where you are, stop asking questions, start being satisfied, and please keep doing your work. So let's take a look at the Great Resignation 2.0 and the story that we're being told today, the story that's meant to slow us down and get us to be a little more content with what we already have. So let's take a look at it so that when we hear this message, we know what we're being sold. Hi, I'm James Callahan, and this is the Do-Over Show, and I have to admit, I am part of the movement called the Great Resignation. I recently quit a perfectly good job that paid good money for a good boss in order to find a better job with better money and a better boss. So, am I normal? Wait, that's an awkward question. Don't answer that. With over 10 million unfilled jobs today, with the unemployment rate back as low as pre-pandemic levels at just over 3%, and with a consistently lower birth rate and immigration numbers and lower workforce participation year over year, employers are having to compromise, offer hybrid work situations, pay increases for retention, to do stay interviews. I did a video about that. You can check it out here. All in an effort to keep and retain or to hire people that they're desperate to add to a growing economy and their workforce. And one of the things that we can see in the pushback by employers trying to slow down the Great Resignation and slow down the movement, your movement from the job that you have now to a better job, is to instill a new experience in us, and that is fear.
Did you flirt with the idea of quitting or changing careers during the pandemic? You're in good company. Labor statistics show about 4 million employees have left their jobs every month since June. But a new poll reveals some of the workers who joined the Great Resignation wished they'd stayed put. Of 2,000 workers surveyed, 1 in 5 regrets quitting their old job, and a third are already searching for a new job.
And employers are saying, see, I told you so. Just shut up, keep your head down, do your work, be happy you've got a job. But you wouldn't listen, would you? So here's an effort to market a new message for the next wave of the Great Resignation, the Great Resignation 2.0, and that is that finding a new job, taking a job even for more money and better conditions won't necessarily make you happy.
30% of workers say their new role is different from what they expected, and 24% say they didn't thoroughly evaluate the pros and cons of leaving.
It's a cautionary tale that they tell trying to scare us out of looking or asking whether or not the Great Resignation may have something in it that you've always been looking for. So here are the latest group of surveys from Pew Research and USA Today, and it turns out that most people who joined the Great Resignation are still happy that they did so. But that's not the story that leads. The story that leads is that buried in those numbers is a question that people are starting to ask, and that is, do you regret quitting your job? Do you regret participating in the Great Resignation? And that's when 1 in 5 people answered in one survey, oh, yeah, it didn't turn out exactly as I hoped it would. And that little story, that's the story employers are going to start telling us more and more. That even if we do get a job with more money, more flexibility, more opportunity from the other guy, it still won't guarantee your happiness. Only around a quarter of job switchers say they're satisfied enough to stay with their new job. 1 in 5, that's 20% for non-math majors. 1 in 5 of the millions and millions who were part of the Great Resignation are unhappy. I'm surprised it's only 1 in 5. And most of these are lower income earners with less than a college degree, new to the job market, or in the first years of their work career, and felt the harshest pressure of the workforce during the pandemic. What does that mean? Well, it means many employers have adjusted and changed to the new conditions of the Great Resignation. But there are still a few employers out there who are fighting against the Great Resignation. In fact, look at new things like inflation recently and higher gas prices as a reason why they'll be able to hire more people and at a lower wage in order to lower their labor costs. Like this Applebee's franchise exec who was outed saying that the franchise faced a new advantage because inflation would increase application flow and has the potential to lower our average wage. He was fired for that. More of a PR mistake, and that tells us where the real battle is. The Great Resignation 2.0 is a marketing battle, a PR battle, fighting to keep you in your job, fighting to resist wage increases and changes that employers are going to have to adapt to in the new normal of the Great Resignation 2.0. But what these surveys also tell us is that 4 out of 5 people who participate in the Great Resignation are okay with it. Most of them are really happy. Those who are glad they changed jobs all say they changed their employment to more flexibility or hybrid or work from home options when possible for more pay. And people who are actually concerned for them, more concerned for them. Bosses in this workforce shortage are actually learning that they work for their workers or their workforce, not the other way around. And many employers have actually responded by increasing wages, becoming more flexible, and even pursuing those who left them at the start of the Great Resignation and going after them to rehire them, offering them something called a boomerang bonus. That is inviting them back, checking in on them. How is the new job going? Hey, you were great with us. We'd like to give you an opportunity of returning. We have a bonus just for you, a boomerang bonus. And what does that do? That saves them money from retraining and downtime because of that training, and it gives them a chance to regain maybe those who aren't quite satisfied with their move in the Great Resignation. So they offer them more money or a bonus, and they bring back people that are a known quantity who are ready to do the work on day one. And for some of them, because their new job didn't turn out as promised and because it's still their market and they still find new work with increased pay, and like everyone else in today's workforce, they'll end up making 15 to 20% more over the course of their lifetime if they quit their job every few years to find a new and better job. As opposed to people who stay in the same job for 20 or 30 years. You'll always make less doing that. So if you're still in that job that you were at the start of the Great Resignation and you wondered if there's a little FOMO in it, if you've missed out on something, it's still going strong. The Great Resignation is still there. There are still over 10 million open jobs. And last month, about 4.4 million people quit their jobs for another job. You haven't missed anything. In fact, you've got a chance to see the whole lay of the land in this perspective. And that is, you get to know what the message is that they're going to push back on you with. And that is that you won't necessarily be happy. That's supposed to stop you from even looking for a new job. Instead of exploring it, instead of always marketing yourself, one of the things that the Great Resignation gives us an opportunity to do is to evaluate a market that is finally, for the first time in your work life, it's a market that you benefit from. You may say no. The money, the extra money, the job, the new circumstances, the new commute, it's not worth it to me. So fine, stay. No one is telling you have to quit your job. The message of the Great Resignation, though, is a fight over your value within the workforce. And remember, with a shrinking workforce and lower workforce participation, the numbers are still moving in your favor. And the next time you hear that message that not everybody who quits is happy, remember, you're being marketed. Marketed by employers who are trying to slow the pressure for wage increase, trying to keep you within your job, trying to get you to be happy with things. But the Great Resignation gives us permission. It gives you permission to ask questions like, what opportunities for advancement do I have? What is the upside of staying with this company, this organization? What are the pay increases? Because if it's 1, 2, or 3% with inflation at 5, 6, 7, 8% or higher, you're actually making less money this year, even with a 3% pay increase. And remember that 4 out of 5 who made the switch, they're okay with it. Most of them are happy with it. And they're making more money than those of us who didn't make a switch. So for me, I'm happy I'm part of the Great Resignation. You, if you haven't participated, this is your chance because the door is still wide open. And thanks for being part of the Do-Over Show. Please, could you tap the like button? And while you're down there, will you subscribe and ring the notifications bell so you don't miss an episode? I'm so glad you found me, and I found you. Thanks.
Bye, Felicia.